Today we will be going over the appendicular skeleton. The first bone that we will be looking at rests at the top of the thoracic cage and is called the clavicle. Next we have the scapula with 4 features that you will need to know for the test. The acromion process is the large pointed area and it extends over our next feature, the glenoid cavity. This cavity is where the humerus rests to form the pivot point of the shoulder. The spine of the scapula rests medial to the acromion process. If you turn the scapula over, you will find a small wing-like process called the coracoid process. The clavicle and the scapula together form the pectoral girdle of the body. The first long bone of the body that we will be going over is the humerus. First, we have the head of the humerus, the neck of the humerus, the greater tubercle, the capituum that is inferior and to the left of the head, and finally the trochlea that is to the right of the capituum. If you rotate the bone to look at the posterior view, you will find the olecranon fossa. This fossa, along with our next long bone, forms the hinge of the elbow. Distal to the humerus, we find the 2 long bones that form the forearm. First, we have the ulna. If you rotate the bone horizontally, you will see the olecranon process here, and that it makes the letter U. This also happens to be the first letter of our long bone. Resting medially to the ulna is the radius. The only feature that you will be identifying on the radius is the head. If you rotate the bone so that you can see the top of the head, you will notice that it looks like a candy Rolo, which happens to start with the letter R along with the radius. Next, we have the bones of the hand. You will not be tested on a disarticulated hand. You will see one very similar to what I have here. You will need to identify the bone groups such as the phalanges, the metacarpals, and the carpals. Along with them, you will also need to identify the 8 carpal bones. You can refer to the lab book or handout when learning these bones. In the pelvic region, you may see an articulated bone and a disarticulated. The disarticulated bone that you will see is the os coxa. On the os coxa that is articulated, you will see the iliac crest, the ilium, the sacroiliac joint, the pubis, the ischium, the obturator foramen, and the pubic symphysis, all of which make up the pelvic girdle. If you rotate the pelvis to view the side, you will see the acetabulum, the ischial tuberosity, and the greater sciatic notch. You may find it easier to study the entire pelvis first and then move to the os coxa. The longest long bone of the body is the femur. On this bone, you will identify the head of the femur that fits into the acetabulum to form the pivot point of the hip, the neck of the femur, and the greater trochanter. Along with the femur, you will also see the patella, a small round bone that makes the kneecap. Distal to the femur, you will find the tibia. This long bone has the shape of a T, and the ridge along the top is the tibial tuberosity. Many women have nicked this area of the tibia as they shave. Resting medially to the tibia is the fibula with the long U sound. The only feature of the fibula that you will be identifying is the head. This is sometimes confused with the opposite end. When studying, be sure to locate the round end of the fibula. Our final section of body that we will be identifying is the foot. Like the hand, you will also have a foot similar in appearance to what I have here. You will need to identify the phalanges, the metatarsals, and the tarsals. The only two bones of the tarsals that you will be tested on are the calcaneus and the talus. We have now completed all of the bones of the body that you will be tested on next class. Please take the remainder of the class time to study, and good luck.